The thumbnail and the title of this video are not clickbait. The fastest possible way to beat Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green involves the player using the move Metronome to call a random move, multiple times, on very important fights. And it's only possible because of how much Lapras weighs. Today we dive into the tool-assisted speedrun of Pokemon FireRed and discuss how this crazy route came together. As of this recording, the current world record for Pokemon FireRed beaten by a human is a 2 hour and 50-second run by Shiro666. Shiro's route takes Squirtle as the starter and uses it all the way throughout the run, only catching a few other H employees along the way. Although humans have yet to do better, the tool-assisted speedrun has been a sub 145 for nearly a decade. That time was achieved by MK Dasher, a Pokemon Tazer who also made legendary achievements in RTA Mario Kart DS speedrunning. Tool-assisted speedrunning uses emulators with save state and rewind capabilities to control the inputs of every single frame of a run. Not only does this mean every input is perfectly executed, but it also opens the door for inputs humans would normally not be capable of, whether they're too fast or too precise. But hold on, this run is glitchless. If we're not exploiting glitches, it might not seem like perfect inputs would change much of anything in a turn-based game like Pokemon. Perfect input timing, though, is what allows Tazers like MK Dasher to take every Pokemon speedrunner's worst enemy and turn it into his best friend. The random number generator. Pokemon's random number generator is not as random as it sometimes seems.
Oh, that's actually really bad.
Bro! Legit, like, I have not been able to hit through confusion the entire run. Dude, okay, yeah, that's really cool and based and awesome. When the game starts up, it generates a large number called a seed. From this seed, the RNG produces the entire list of random numbers the game will use until the next time it's started up. We can't actually see this list, but the ability to rewind and replay game sections over and over again allows us to peek at what's ahead. Because the RNG progresses every single frame, if MK Dasher got a roll he didn't like, he can just rewind, wait a frame, try again, and so on, until he found a part of the RNG list that fits his needs. This works for every single accuracy roll, damage roll, and critical hit check in the game. The same idea also works in the overworld for things like encounters. Although the way FireRed handles things makes an encounterless run impossible, RNG manipulation can be used to make it as optimal as possible. It also allows MK Dasher to make sure anything he needs to catch along the way pops up at a convenient time and is easily caught. This is what makes Pokemon Tazes such a fascinating puzzle. Most Pokemon challenges are about managing and working around the RNG. Tool-assisted speedruns like MK Dashers take the dynamic and flip it on its head. What if we could make the RNG work for us whenever we want to? Just watch and see. Just like Shiro's world record, the task starts by grabbing Squirtle. Even optimal RNG guarantees a minimum of 2 encounters as we make our way to the first gym. MK Dasher grabs a Pidgey and a Rattata, who will learn Fly and Cut respectively. Squirtle remains the star of the show through Mount Moon, but where Shiro just rolls through Cerulean, MK Dasher stops and picks up the real MVP. Clefairy, which is instantly evolved with a Moonstone, immediately gives a huge advantage over the weak and pathetic Squirtle. Squirtle's best stat is 65 base defense. Clefable's worst stat is its base 60 speed. Most importantly, the physical attack is substantially higher for Clefable. At base 70, Clefable's attack stat is still higher than Wartortle's. Blastoise, which doesn't evolve until just after the 1 hour mark in MK Dasher's original run, only beats Clefable in the physical attack and defense stat. Everywhere else, Clefable matches or beats even Blastoise. And that physical attack advantages is, for the purposes of this run, completely fake thanks to Stab. Just outside Mount Moon's exit, we see one of the first big differences between FireRed and the OG Red and Blue run, the move tutors. These two martial artists teach Mega Punch and Mega Kick, 2 moves that have absurd powers for the early game, as long as you don't mind using low accuracy moves. Thanks to our Taz superpowers, we don't mind that at all. The power of these moves combined with their guaranteed accuracy will be keeping MK Dasher's fat pink blob safe. Just like I'll be keeping my fat pink blob safe with the sponsor of this video, the Manscaped Boxers 2.0. Now you might be asking, did this guy seriously just pull out an old pair of boxers from his laundry pile? To which I reply, Manscaped Boxers are fantastic, high-performance, anti-chafing boxer briefs. They're super functional, but they're also fashionable. In fact, there's over 6 color combinations to pick from. That's more colors than you can have Pokemon in your party. There's the sleek, all black. There's some serious bling with the black with gold waistbands. There's the tried and true classics with the gray or the pinstripe design. There's even a gold nugget version, guaranteed to not be as expensive as the gold nuggets in the Pokemon games, while being even prettier. You can pick up single ones, or even save with a full 3-pack. If you need to replace those old boxers in your closet that you've had since high school, now's a good time. Click my link down in the description for 20% off your Manscaped boxers or any other Manscaped products. Thank you Manscaped for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back into the speedrun. Whichever Pokemon we choose for this run is going to be clicking these normal type moves a lot. Even in the late game, Mega Kick's 120 base power is elite, and it's nice to have something unresisted by everything except Ghost and Rock types. Clefairy doesn't actually become a Fairy type until Generation 6, which you might think is a nerf. But here in good old Generation 3, where it's a normal type, it gains the 1.5 same type attack bonus on all of its Mega Punches and Kicks, as well as its Pounds for good measure. That bonus puts Clefairy's Mega Kicking and punching power well beyond even Blastoise's, helping to make up for the time it takes to pick it up and evolve it in Mount Moon. Clefable starts bringing value right away. It can one-shot Misty's Staryu, which Squirtle can't even dream of. It easily tanks a hit against Starmie. It can one-shot Surge's Raichu, which Wartortle can't. It can one-shot Giovanni's Kangaskhan with a Mega Kick crit. Wartortle has to hit it with 2 strength crits. There's also this moment in the run where Clefable Mega Kicks the subscribe button under this video. Weird detour that the Taz chose to go for there, I'm not really sure that's optimal. After Rocket Hideout, MK Dasher heads to Lavender Town and then back to Celadon to take out Erica. We're finally starting to get to the part of the game where opposing trainers' levels will catch up to our overleveled starter. Speedrunners prefer a bit more consistency, so if we need to set up X attacks or take an extra turn for a knockout, we can. Clefable doesn't have time for any of that nonsense. We're good with Mega Punches, Pounds, Mega Kicks, with Water Pulse to deal with any Rock or Ghost types, at least for now. The run keeps rolling. Where Blastoise has to take some time to set up its Torrent ability, which boosts its Water type attacks when it's at less than 33% health, Clefable is just obliterating everything. Koga and Blaine both have all of their Pokemon one-shotted by Clefable. Here's the first detour in the Clefable route that isn't there in the Blastoise route. We make a quick stop in the lab on Cinnabar for Metronome, even though it won't get clicked for quite a bit. Mega Punch and Mega Kick are still our go-tos for now. Normally, a strat like this relying on physical damage would be obliterated by Blue's team. Both his Growlithe and his Gyarados are carrying the Intimidate ability, which knocks down attack by 1 stage on switch-ins. By the time both hit the field, your Pokemon is at -2 attack, with its attack stat effectively cut in half. Taz superpowers come to the rescue here once again. Critical hits in Pokemon aren't just important for their damage, they also ignore stat changes. Negative ones, inflicting yourself, like the -2 attack that you're on after 2 Intimidates, or any boosts on the opponent's side like Staryu's defense boosting Harden in the Misty fight. And so, Clefable is able to one-shot everything in the rival fight in Silphco. And Giovanni in Silphco. And Sabrina. And Giovanni in the Viridian Gym. Not even the rival outside Victory Road has anything strong enough to live a single hit. But now, it's time for the Elite Four. What we've been dealing with is child's play compared to these last 5 fights. These teams are deeper and stronger than anything we've been dealing with so far. This is where the Blastoise route really slows to a crawl. It just cannot keep up with the damage output at all. And this is also where Clefable's secret weapon finally comes in. Lorelei is tricky for any Pokemon in a Taz run thanks to the Cloyster's ability Shell Armor, which makes the critical hit the run relies on impossible. Cloyster is a defensive tank, so the only way we're taking it down is with a super effective special move. MK Dasher only found 3 possibilities from Metronome: Thunderbolt, Thunder, and Zap Cannon. Again, because of RNG manipulation, he can control what comes out of this Metronome. Next comes another bulky water type in Slowbro, which he has a few more options for. Finally though is the single most difficult kill to find in the run, Lorelei's Lapras. Lapras is bulkier on the special side, allowing it to live the electric moves that had taken down Cloyster and Slowbro, even though, unlike Cloyster, it can be crit. In the end, MK Dasher was able to find only one move in the entire game that would get the kill here: Low Kick. The viability of the Metronome strategy, the justification of the time spent catching Clefable in Mount Moon, and then walking to the lab for the move in Cinnabar, it all hinges on Clefable's ability to one-shot everything. This Lapras comes unbelievably close to ruining everything though. For Low Kick of all moves to save us is extremely lucky. Low Kick is one of the few moves in the game with an attack power set by the target Pokemon's weight. Against the lightest Pokemon in the game, Low Kick has a measly 20 attack power, matching up with powerhouse moves like Absorb and Bubble. Against the heaviest though, it reaches 120 base power, matching up with Flare Blitz, Brave Bird, and Mega Kick. The weight threshold for reaching that max 120 base power is 200 kilograms, and Lapras weighs 220. But these weight values, especially back in Gen 1, were arbitrary. There was no weight calculations back then. In Generation 1, Low Kick was a static 50 base power move with a flinch chance. Lapras is big and is supposed to carry people, so let's just make it weigh a lot, some Generation 1 developer probably said before never thinking about it again. But had that arbitrary weight been 180 kilograms instead of 220, the Metronome strats against Lapras wouldn't have been possible. It also wouldn't have been possible if Lorelei's Lapras had shell armor like her Cloyster. But since it's running Water Absorb, MK Dasher was still able to find a one-shot. Metronome isn't necessary for a bit, as Lorelei's Jinx falls to a strength, and Bruno's frail Pokemon stand no chance against Clefable's standard moves. But the next fight, Agatha, presents another problem type for her hero. Her ghost types can't be hit by her stab boosted normal attacks. The Blastoise run solves this with stab and torrent boosted surfs. MK Dasher's Clefable can't do any of these things, so let's get weird. Agatha requires 3 metronomes just like Lorelei, but this fight is much easier, as Gengar and Haunter are nowhere near the defensive walls presented by Cloyster, Lapras, and Slowbro. Lance and the Rival both require X attacks if you want to one-shot their extremely powerful Pokemon with a starter at this point. The speedrun enters the Elite Four at level 50, and the Rival's ace is a whopping level 63. Not even Taz superpowers can get a Blastoise, Charizard, or Nidoking through either of these teams without taking some time to set up X items. Clefable though, just watch her work her magic. The Taz finishes at 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 17 seconds. Taz control of the RNG saved over 15 minutes, more than 10% of the run. The Clefable route cut 2 minutes and 5 seconds off of MK Dasher's previous Taz run, which used Blastoise the whole way, while only catching other Pokemon for HMs. Most of that is thanks to the turns saved in the Elite Four. 5 extra turns against Lorelei, 3 extra turns against Lance, and 4 extra turns against Gary, for a total of 12. Unique challenges like Pokemon Taz runs call for unique solutions. Metronome Clefable is about as unique as it gets, and MK Dasher's brilliant route adaptation has held up the record for nearly a decade. Thank you for watching this video. I've had a recent fascination with Taz runs, as you might be able to tell, and I'm very interested in combining Taz and Pokemon Nuzlocke runs. Maybe let me know how you think that could be done. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.